What is the difference between elk and caribou? Deer are among the most diverse and widespread mammal groups around today, spanning multiple continents and even more habitat types. Today, we're going to be paying special attention to two prominent members of the deer family, elk and caribou. What similarities do these animals have? What differences? Are they even different animals at all? Well, let's find out. Elk. Elk are large members of the true deer family, Cervidae, and some of the biggest land mammals in their home environments. Scientists refer to the elk as Cervus canadensis, while Native American tribes like the Cree and Shawnee called it wapiti, which translates to white rump. These large ungulates are native to North America, Europe, and Asia, but humans have introduced them to other parts of the world, like New Zealand and Argentina. They prefer woodland habitats, open forests and forest edges, of varying altitudes and climates. Once believed to be a subspecies of European red deer, elk were proven to be a distinct species thanks to mitochondrial DNA analysis. Today, we have 11 subspecies of elk, most of which are specifically adapted to specific parts of the world. Cervus canadensis sibericus is also known as the Altai elk and found in southern Siberia's forested hills, while the Manitoban elk, Cervus canadensis manitobensis, lives and thrives in the American Midwest and southern Canadian prairies. Elk are the second biggest species of deer, behind the moose. Shoulder height ranges from 2 feet 6 inches to 4 feet 11 inches, while body length is between 5 feet 3 inches and 8 feet 10 inches. Males, or bulls, can weigh between 392 and 1,096 pounds, while females, or cows, fall between 377 and 644 pounds. America's Roosevelt elk is the largest subspecies, with bulls weighing as much as 1,300 pounds. Of course, sexual dimorphism isn't just restricted to size. Females lack the antlers that males sport during the summer and autumn. Antler growth is a result of testosterone, which begins increasing in mid to late spring and peaks in the summer, before decreasing again towards winter when the antlers fall off. These large herbivores have a fairly versatile diet, but grass is their staple. Grass is supplemented by tree bark in the winter and tree sprouts or forbs in the summer months. A full-grown elk can eat 20 pounds of food every day. Like many ungulates with four-chambered stomachs, elk chew cud and spend a significant portion of their day doing so. Elk are among the most social of all deer species, forming herds with several hundred individuals during the summer breeding period. The rest of the time, elk live in segregated groups. Bulls live in smaller herds and bands, though some even live solitary. Cows often live in much larger groupings, which also include their young, known as calves. When the breeding season, or the rut, rolls around, male groups and female herds converge, forming super herds with as many as 400 elk. The bulls will follow cows everywhere, looking to cash in on the relatively brief estrus window. Bulls will dig pits, urinate in them, and roll around in it. The more pungent the smell, the better the aphrodisiac. Apparently, cow elk can't get enough of a urine-soaked lover boy. Bulls also famously engage in intense sparring sessions in a bid to establish dominance over other males and impress the ladies. With sprawling antlers backed by tremendous bulk, bull elk are formidable warriors, with bouts lasting long until someone backs down. Injuries are common, and serious damage to the eyes and other important body parts is not unheard of. From a distance, bulls also communicate power and fitness by making high-pitched vocalizations that exceed 4,000 hertz. This behavior is called bugling. Despite their large sizes, elk still have to worry about predation. As far as wild animals, the chief threat to elk are wolves, mountain lions, coyotes, and bears, while Siberian elk also have tigers to contend with. Their large size makes them a rich meal for any predator. Even a 400-pound Siberian tiger will feast for days on a full-grown bull elk, as would the average wolf pack. Of course, elk don't just worry about animal predation. Humans are perhaps the biggest threat they face because elk is both an important food source for local people and a highly sought-after sport quarry for hunters all over the world. Media platforms like the Joe Rogan Experience podcast have gone a long way toward alerting the world to the thrill of elk hunting and the richness of the meat. Elk meat is very rich in protein and packs way more per ounce than pork, beef, and chicken. It's also rich in good fatty acids, zinc, iron, and phosphorus, but low in harmful cholesterol. In the US and Canada, you can find elk meat in certain restaurants and supermarkets in and around elk-rich areas. Apart from being a food source, the elk is an important symbol for indigenous native cultures and modernity. In America, the elk is regarded as a symbol of freedom, purity, and nobility. It is the official state animal in Utah and adorns Michigan's state flag and seal. Traditional cultures like the Lakota people in America held elk in high regard as a spiritual symbol. Elk skins, bones, teeth, and antlers were used to make tools, weapons, clothing, charms, musical instruments, and all sorts of cool trinkets. In Asia, rock and cave paintings and carvings depicting elk are quite common. It is believed that ancient Siberian peoples regarded female elk as a symbol of fertility and life. Caribou. The caribou, perhaps better known as the reindeer, is another large member of Cervidae, the deer family. Known to taxonomists as Rangifer tarandus, this winter-loving ungulate is also classified under the Capulini subfamily of New World deer. There are 8 subspecies, again with characteristics and adaptations based on specific locale. The largest subspecies is Osborne's caribou, Rangifer tarandus osborni, while the Svalbard reindeer, Rangifer tarandus platyrticus, is the smallest. Caribou mainly live in and near the Arctic Circle, with a range that spans from northern Canada and Alaska to northern Europe and Siberia. Typical habitats include boreal forests and icy tundras. Like elk, reindeer are ruminants with 4-chambered stomachs for thorough digestion. The bulk of their diet consists of lichens, and they have a special enzyme called lichenase in their guts, which helps them break lichen down and convert it into glucose. They also partake in various grasses and leaves. Interestingly, caribou often gnaw on bones to boost their phosphorus intake. They will nibble at shed antlers or even have a bite of someone else's unshed antlers to supplement their mineral intake. Even more interestingly, caribou are known to turn to predation when times get especially lean. They may go after fish, rodents, and even bird eggs to get their nutritional fix when vegetation is scant. Mushrooms are also a delicacy in some cases, as noted among the Chukchi people of Siberia. As mentioned before, caribou are pretty large animals, though not as big as elk. Cows max out at 6 feet 9 inches in body length, while body weight ranges from 180 to 260 pounds. Bulls are usually larger, weighing between 350 and 400 pounds, and measuring up to 7 feet in body length. Of course, outliers exist. The biggest bull caribou on record tipped the scales at more than 701 pounds. A caribou's weight varies depending on the time of the year and the availability of food. They typically bulk up ahead of winter and get leaner and leaner when the real cold rolls around. Bulls in particular also lose a ton of weight during the rut because of all the energy spent fighting rivals, pursuing and guarding females, and neglecting to eat. Like elk, caribou fur is also subject to the time of the year. They have a dense underlayer of woolly fur and an overcoat with long hairs. In early spring, they shed their overcoats and grow them back in late summer and autumn ahead of the winter. The long hairs of the overcoat are hollow and capable of trapping air, which in turn traps body heat. This special fur is the main reason why caribou thrive in their harsh domains. Another special adaptation caribou have is their hooves, which are wide and crescent-shaped to offer support when walking on treacherous mud or snow. In winter, the pads beneath the hooves thin out, so the animal walks on the hard rims of its hooves, minimizing contact with the freezing ground. They also have long hairs between their toes to aid with protection from the cold. Wide hooves are also important for digging snow to find food. Despite their relatively remote home ranges, caribou are prominent parts of many cultures around the world. These days, their association with Santa Claus and his gift-laden sleigh has made them a common symbol for Christmas holidays. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer is arguably the most famous deer ever, though Disney's Bambi might have a thing to say about that. Historically, they have been a common source of food for people in their home ranges and figured prominently in religion, heraldry, and agriculture. Reindeer are the only wild deer that humans have managed to domesticate on a fairly large scale. Apart from providing meat, they're used for transport and even dairy. Various Arctic peoples in the Americas and Eurasia have herded them for centuries. Unfortunately, human activity like forest clearing has had a massively negative impact on wild caribou populations. The International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN, lists them as vulnerable given that numbers have shrunk by over 40% in the last quarter century. So far, we've already lost 3 subspecies to full extinction, and a growing number are becoming rarer and rarer. Other notable differences. As mentioned before, elk are pretty sociable and tend to live in groups. Caribou, though social, are much more independent and can often roam solo. Elk are also more likely to stick to a favored home range, while caribou are far more nomadic. Caribou's diet is significantly different, with lichens being the primary food. Elk, on the other hand, favor grass. There are also antler-related differences. Firstly, only bull elk can grow antlers. Female elk do not have enough testosterone to ever grow antlers. However, in contrast, both male and female caribou grow large antlers. Secondly, we have antler shape. Elk have sprawling, tree-like antlers with consistent thickness. Caribou antlers have varying thicknesses and a C shape when viewed from the side.